And so as 2023 comes to a close, we all sit back and reflect on the year that has been. And I once again come to the horrific realization that if the year is over, I am also 1 year older, that meaning 1 year closer to death. And the horrifying existential dread starts creeping in, and it's starting to suffocate my chest where I can't breathe. I'm starting to get a little woozy and I can't see properly. And so I thought, what better way to combat, to fight off these impossibly terrifying things that are going on inside my brain than to think about movies, to rank a bunch of movies or whatever, because that's going to distract from the impending doom that is invading my mind. The 10 best films of 2023. Mr. Kraken edition. Don't worry either. I am totally fine. Number 10, The Creator. I have always wondered, ever since watching Godzilla and Rogue One by director Gareth Edwards, what it would be like if he was able to bring the amazing scope and scale of these big monsters and creatures and spaceships and the amazing scale and cinematography and the beautiful visual flair and unique style that he brings to those films. What would that be like if we got all of those things, but also good characters and a good story? And unfortunately, I'm still waiting for that, because Gareth Edwards directed The Creator, a film that is visually stunning. It is shockingly beautiful. It feels like a Vietnam War film. Everything looks so beautiful. The robot designs are spectacular. But unfortunately, like his other two big Hollywood blockbuster films, the story and particularly the characters leave me wanting. I do not like any of the characters. Some are better than others, but generally speaking, this film, like his other two films, falls completely flat in the character department. And yes, AI has never been more prevalent and all that stuff, and the what it means to be human themes are there, but they're no better than anything else I've ever seen. It's as good as I, Robot. I've seen better shows this year in Pantheon. I don't think that came out this year, but I saw it this year, and Pluto, an amazing Netflix series. So many other series do robots and AI or UI in one case. They do them so much better and more interesting on a character level, and it's so disappointing because the lore, the mythology, the world, and the visuals, this movie looks so spectacular, but the characters are so boring and bland, and I just don't care. You know what? I feel like I've started off on the wrong foot. Number 10 for a film that I kind of thought was fine. That doesn't sound right, because this isn't some just kind of random subjective thing that I'm just like spouting into the wind. No, this is going to go down as the objective top 10 best films of 2023, and I cannot, in good conscience, put down Gareth Edwards, The Creator. So, scrap that. No, I think I put them there. Scrap that. Let's go with, instead, number 10, Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle is an absolute delight. It is such a fun superhero film. The lead actor, the guy from Cobra Kai, kills it. He's so infectious and fun. The CGI in this movie is spectacular. The Blue Beetle suit, whilst not in the film enough doing Blue Beetle stuff, when it does the Blue Beetle stuff, it is awesome. At one point, it gets a big sword, and I was literally like, I was euphoric in the cinema. I was like, oh my God. When he ripped out that big sword, I was like, I was excited or whatever. I was going to say I was rock hard. But no, this isn't the movie Blue Beetle. There are no time for boner jokes. And if you haven't seen the movie, you might be like, what? Well, in fact, there are 2 boner jokes in this movie, which is 2 more than I expected, and that was utterly delightful. It's essentially like a generic superhero film that you've seen a million times, but with the Fast and Furious family element, and it's all amazing, except that I did find one aspect of this film infuriating. I hated it so much. Blue Beetle's like, I don't kill because I'm a Batman about this stuff. Not like a movie Batman, but like comic Batman. I don't kill. I will not kill, which is awesome and cool and fine. But for a film that is so family orientated, it is so family centric, and it works so well. But then in the third act, mild spoilers, I guess, I don't know, the grandma, and it's played as a joke, like a ha ha ha, the grandma is like, revolution! I used to be in the revolution, or some kind of, I don't know, Civil War situation or something, and she kills like 17 people. Like so many people. She just murders so many people. And then Blue Beetle at the end is like, I won't kill you, evil Blue Beetle that's red Beetle. I won't kill you. I won't do it. And I hated that so much. You know what? Now I'm saying it out loud. Once again, I have picked a film at number 10 that I don't think is worthy of the honor of being number 10. So unfortunately, I think once again, and I do apologize for this, we're going to get going soon, I promise. But no, number 10 will not be Blue Beetle. Number 10. For the last time, I promise, for realsies, this is definitely going to be number 10. Number 10, The Covenant. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. You know, Guy Ritchie, that guy who makes Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, but like with like a different like skin on it. Snatch, Rock and Roller, other ones, The Gentleman. I feel like there's more. I feel like there's like 14 of them. But that's essentially, he makes that movie. The Covenant is Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. It's called that. It's like, you see that on Prime. It's like, it's Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. And it's the least Guy Ritchie film you'll ever see in your entire life. This feels more akin to The Hurt Locker or Saving Private Ryan. Yes, I am saying it is that good. This is a spectacular, harrowing, devastating, but emotionally dense and powerful war film. Guy Ritchie strips away all his Guy Ritchie-ness. There's no Guy Ritchie-isms about it. It's the least Guy Ritchie film a Guy Ritchie film could ever Guy Ritchie, and it's so good! Like, with Operation Fortuna, his worst film ever, I felt like he was trying to avoid Guy Ritchieing all over the film, and I was like, if you're gonna get Guy Ritchie to direct a film, let him Guy Ritchie. And this time, Guy Ritchie's like, I will not Guy Ritchie all over this film. I refuse to Guy Ritchie all over the place. And the film is spectacular. It is harrowing, devastating, powerful. It's just an absolute delight in the sad, harrowing, horrifying, slightly entertaining way that a good war film is. You know what? I know this is going to sound really bad. But as I've talked about it and I've remembered how much I like this film, I feel like, unlike the other ones, number 10, too high. I'm going to chuck it down to 7 or 8. I'm going to think about it as I do the review. So, unfortunately, get rid of The Covenant. But unfortunately, because that is 7, 8, or 9, I am going to have to, unfortunately, reset once again, because we are... we're still up to number 10, Saltburn. Imagine the film Parasite, but much, much sluttier and much, much dumber and worse. It's like budget British Parasite. No, oh god, I hate to do this to you guys, but if a film is the same as another film but worse and British and budget version of that film, how can it be in the top 10? Because this is going to be something that we look back on forever as the top 10 films. So no, it can't be Saltburn. Let's try again. Number 10, The Royal Hotel. Imagine the Australian film Wake in Fright, but another different Australian film called The Royal Hotel, but not as good. It's like Wake in Fright, but like the home brand version. Budget Wake in Fright, you might say. Oh no. Oh, I've done it again. Number 10, Poor Things. What if Barbie was an art house film? What if the set design is so unique and special and fresh and it's something you've never seen before and it's done in this really quirky, offbeat, art house style way? Sometimes the frame is like a fisheye lens where it's all black and there's a little dot in the middle and you focus on the dot and it's like, why'd you do that? Because it's an art house film, and probably someone with a brain is like, well, every time they did that, actually it was speaking to the characters on this really fundamental level of what they meant and the themes of the film. Shut up! They didn't make any sense to me. It was a beautiful looking film, and it follows the same beautiful, interesting, unique path that Barbie follows of a girl who's locked in a certain environment for her whole life, and then she breaks free and experiences the real world, and turns out the patriarchy or whatever, and it sucks. And she's like, most men suck because they have penises. But then she finds out that sometimes men don't suck because of their penises. But then she meets some other people who suck for different reasons than the first people sucked, but it's also for the same second reason, because of their penises. And they're like, oh, the patriarchy and penises and worldviews and, oh, I've learnt lots about the world and life and stuff. I thought it was fine. It started off with like a mad scientist thing. I'm like, oh, mad science! I am all about science that is mad! And then it does a movie that's Barbie but art house and sex. And then right at the end, the last 2 seconds of the movie, it's like, mad scientist? And I'm like, oh, I would have loved that movie somewhere in there. But it's spectacular, but once again, Too many negatives. Too many negatives for a top 10 film. Top 10 films are the films you love and there's no issues. Because the back 9, I assure you that I will get to. No issues. So, let's scrap Poor Things. Whichever place I put it. Maybe I put it both. I didn't. Poor Things off the list. Put it in the bucket of films that were pretty good, pretty great, pretty spectacular, but not good enough. Or maybe I just didn't get them, or maybe I am an idiot. Maybe that. The fish lens. There were so many shows where it was like, whoosh. I'm like, why? Like, it's cool. It looks good, but why? So instead of Poor Things, the art house version of Barbie, instead, I think I'm going to go with number 10, the Barbie movie. Original soundtrack. The Barbie movie soundtrack is spectacular. That Dua Lipa song, Dance the Night Away. I love all her songs. So of course I loved this new song. The Ken song, I'm Ken Enough or whatever it was. It was awesome. What a good song. And the best song in the soundtrack is Billie Eilish's song, What Was I Made For? Or whatever it's called. I listen to that literally probably twice a day. Spectacular. Driving the truck at work, just listen to it. I've revealed too much about work. I don't like this. I hate this. But how else am I going to explain how I listen to this? I'm not just sitting alone in a dark room in my house listening. I'm driving and doing work and sobbing as I listen to this powerful ballad from Billie Eilish, which I only very recently in the last 3 or 4 days realized was from the Barbie soundtrack. Because when I saw the movie Barbie, I was in a hoodie at the back watching, being like, impressed me, Barbie. I'm about to go the Oppenheimer experience. So I had to see it day one. But there was like 50 children, girls, like 12-year-olds in the cinema. So as soon as the credits began, I was gone. I was out of that theater because I didn't want the lights to come up and people would look around and be like, like parents of the 12-year-olds that were there, being like, he's the only man in here and he doesn't look happy. Attack him? I just felt uncomfortable. And so I left because also I didn't love the movie. But my God, would have I stayed if I knew that Billie Eilish's song, What Was I Made For, played? Pooh! No, because I could just listen to it at home, which I have every single day since that movie came out. It's a banger. And I know we've been through this a couple of times. But I will definitively say that the 10th best film of the year is the Barbie soundtrack. Alright, so clearly this list has taken a while to pick up steam to get to number 9. But let's do a speed round. I'm going to go through them all real quick, and then maybe I'll say one sentence, or maybe I'll say nothing, and the film will speak for itself. Also, every single film on this list, I've done a review for it, so check out the review, or whatever, or don't, I don't care, who cares. Number 9, Oppenheimer. I love that Christopher Nolan made a film about a man who made a thing that is going to probably end the world one day. That's fun! Number 8, Leave the World Behind. The only good thing that the Friends TV show has been a part of. And I am including the Friends TV show. Because it's bad. Why do you all like it? Why am I the only person in the world? I feel like I'm going crazy. Number 7. Now this is a bit of a tricky one because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to be number 7. So I have, and I know this is going to be pretty controversial, but I have decided to make it a tie for the 7th best film of 2023. And that is a tie between the Hunger Games prequel and this delicious Barbie. Now you can see my dilemma. On one hand, I really want to give it to the Hunger Games prequel because it's a prequel that works. It's a villain origin story. I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. I was so surprised by it. It was probably the most surprising film of the year in terms of how much I enjoyed it. It made me realize I hadn't seen the Hunger Games movies, so I rewatched them all and I love the Hunger Games. It's probably the best film in the franchise. I absolutely adore it, so you can see why I want to give it to the Hunger Games prequel. Also, it is in fact a movie, but on the other hand, this is a very delicious Barbie, and it's only $11. Oh, actually, it's $9.90 if they remember to give me the staff center discount, but they often don't. In fact, the more I go to this place, the more I feel like it's one lady, like this one girl who keeps giving me the staff center discount and the others don't. And so I'm like, is she allowed to do that? Is she being generous? Or are the other ones forgetting to do it? And just see how much they stack in there. The first time I got it, they were stacking it. And I'm like, wow, that's a pretty stacked Barbie for $11 or $9.90 if they remember the staff center discount. But my God, they were halfway putting the food into the Barbie. It is just an absolute treat. And so, yes, I really want to give it to the Hunger Games prequel because Hunger Games is amazing and I love that prequel movie. Big surprise. But on the other hand, probably the biggest surprise of the year for me is realizing that this Vietnamese place, like 2 seconds from work, do bar me. They only just started doing it, that's right, tying it all together in 2023. And that's why the 7th best film of the year is in fact not Hunger Games Prequel. Get it out of there. No ties in this game. In fact, no. It goes solely to This Delicious Bar Me. Number 6, Talk to Me. The best Australian horror film I have seen in maybe the last 10 years. I loved it so much. Everything about this is everything I love in horror. It feels like they've created a new iconic horror character, but it's not even a character. It's just like a hand. This hand is going to be the iconic villain of the next 10 years in terms of horror. It's the new Billy the Doll, but it's a hand. I loved it so much. Oh, wait, hold on. I've just remembered, I said I was going to put The Covenant later, but I haven't yet, and so I guess it has to go now, because it can't go in the top 5, because those films are actually locked and loaded, and they are my top 5 films. So unfortunately, I don't want to push Talk to Me back, though, because it's also very good. Alright, remember before where I said whatever film was last? That film is out the gate! Leave the world behind, more like, get out of this list, you stupid film or whatever, even though it's spectacular and I loved it. Number 8, The Covenant. Number 7, This Delicious Bar Me. Number 6, Talk to Me. Number 5, Godzilla Minus One. I love the idea of Godzilla trying to learn math. It's a really interesting and new kind of take on the character. Yeah, you know, as soon as I said, I'm like, that's a bad joke, but I spent too long trying to figure out number 10, so there's no time to do like a better joke or say something I liked about the film. Number 4, Mission Impossible 7, Dead Reckoning. Part 1. I love Tom Cruise, I love this movie, I love every single second of this movie. Him and Hayley Atwell were good together, the action's spectacular. This film was so funny and action-packed and spectacular. The fact that at the 7th movie, they just keep getting better and better and better and better, even though it's probably not as good as 6, it's still as good as 4 or 5. And this franchise is the best action franchise of all time. I love it! Number 3, Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. This is everything I love in cinema. Fantasy, fun, quirky, wacky, adventurous, action-packed. Every single person in this cast is amazing. Chris Pine and Hugh Grant are the standouts. I just adore everything. Everything is so imaginative and visually interesting and creative and wacky. There are just so many little set pieces and moments where you're just like, oh, I can't believe they did this with this. Like the portal gun is used in so many creative and fun, interesting ways. I just love this film. This is a 20 out of 10 film for me. Every single second of this film oozes, this is cinema. I loved it so much, and I've never played D&D because I don't have enough friends to have a room where we throw dice. I mean, sorry, I have so many friends, we just can't figure out who's gonna throw the dice first. We don't know who's gonna throw it first. That's why we don't play D&D. Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. Or potentially Spiderverse Across the Spiderverse? I can't decide. Both films are both the best and the second best film for me. I absolutely love them so very much. Both of them are so emotional and powerful, and they're probably the best in the series. They're both in franchises that are so good, my expectations were too high, and yet they somehow exceeded them. They are both so visually interesting and exciting and absurd and weird, and they kind of do what I love about superhero movies, and they're funny and weird and action-packed, but also so very emotional and sad, and they just both do so much. I love them both so very much. So you know what? I cannot decide which film is the best and the second best. I cannot decide which is the best film to make it the best film of 2023. I cannot decide. So instead of deciding, I'm going to take the coward's way out, and I'm going to make neither of them the best film of 2023. Instead, they are both the second one. That's right, another tie. And I know what you're saying. Stop giving things ties. You can't do that. That's not part of the rules. Well, guess what? I make the rules. I break them and make them. I'm like Harry Potter and Dumbledore combined. I break the rules, and then I just reward myself 10 points to Gryffindor! The best film of the year is This Delicious Bar Me. No. It is very delicious. But no. I will not give it to a sandwich from a sandwich shop that I did find it in 2023. They did start making the sandwich, so it could fit into some kind of best of 2023 situation. But no, this is a list of films, and we've had a little bit of a laugh, a little bit of a silly haha, so no. Let's get serious for a second. The best film of the year of 2023 is Spider-Man 2, the PlayStation 5 video game. It is literally the best story of Spider-Man ever. It is so spectacular. It improves on every single aspect of the first game. The black suit Spider-Man mechanics and action and just the way the combat is kind of enhanced from the perfect thing they did in the first movie. It is spectacular. I love it so very much. It is essentially a movie. There's like 7 hours of cutscenes. So in a lot of ways, it's more like a TV series. Oh no. So it can't be the best film of 2023. And so just like that, we wrap up 2023 and then we throw it in the bin and move on with 2024. Because in the end of the day, we still just gotta wake up and go to work and every single day is the same. So who cares what year it is?